Welcome back to Horror Recaps. My name is Freddie, and in a moment, you're going to listen to a frightening tale narrated by me. Beware, fear awaits you. The movie begins with a gorgeous girl named Tamara walking to her classroom. There, she hands a book to her English teacher, Bill, and the two begin making out. Soon after, Tamara notices her classmates looking at them from the outside, and in a moment of panic, Tamara shoves Bill aside and notices how ugly she looks in the mirror. As her classmates enter the room and begin to make fun of her, Bill says that he could never love her. Tamara suddenly awakens, only to realize that it was all a dream. Her teacher, Bill, asks whether she's okay, and she nervously nods her head. Moments later, as Tamara is looking at her witchcraft book, a boy named Patrick begins to harass her, causing her to drop her things. He then picks up the book and announces to the entire class that she is a witch. Bill berates Patrick for his vile behavior and returns the book to Tamara. The bell soon rings and students rush outside. Bill then approaches Tamara and informs her that he has some exciting news for her. He shows her the article she wrote that's been published in the school paper and expresses his appreciation for her intelligence. Later in the locker room, a girl named Keisha approaches Tamara and begins to harass her for writing the article about athletes. But just then, a kind girl named Chloe arrives and defends Tamara while chasing the bullies away. And once they're alone, she confronts Tamara and makes sure she's okay. After school, Patrick and his friend Sean begin harassing Tamara to take revenge for publishing the article about athletes. However, Tamara manages to run from them and enter Bill's office. He notices the girl panicking and tells her that it is not her fault if some of the athletes were revealed to be drug users. Bill also apologizes for sending her article to the school newspaper and assures her that she is always free to reach out to him if something is bothering her. Meanwhile, Keisha is hiding by the door, listening to their conversation. Bill continues consoling Tamara, but she misinterprets him and tries to kiss him, which he obviously refuses. Tamara soon realizes she's made a big mistake, so she rushes out in embarrassment. Later, Sean informs Keisha and Patrick that the coach benched him for refusing to take the drug test. Keisha is Sean's girlfriend, which reasons why she is so angry with Tamara. She then tells Patrick and Sean that Tamara tried to kiss their teacher but was turned down. Hearing this, Sean decides to teach Tamara a lesson. He later approaches a nerdy student named Roger and invites him to a party that evening. As they talk, Chloe and her boyfriend Jesse arrive, and he invites them as well. And before leaving, Sean asks Roger whether he still works at the AV Center since he needs a favor from him. Meanwhile, Bill meets with Miss Allison, who is the school's guidance counselor and also his wife. He tells her that Tamara has a crush on him, which upsets Allison. However, he assures her that it will not be a problem, and Allison mentions that she might be pregnant, which excites Bill. Later at home, Tamara's alcoholic father mocks his daughter, claiming that her witchcraft stuff will not make her feel better. After he leaves, Tamara prepares a ritual that will make Bill fall in love with her. She lights the candles and arranges Bill's handkerchief in a tray, following along with a lock of her hair. She then reads aloud the love-binding ritual spell and requests that the ancients bind her fate to Bill. However, just as she is about to spill her blood, which is the final step, she changes her mind and stops the process. Afterward, Sean calls Tamara pretending to be Bill and tells her that he is attracted to her. He then invites Tamara to meet him at a motel, and while the girl is initially hesitant, she eventually agrees, believing that her spell must have worked. Sometime later, Tamara pulls the love-binding ritual page from her magic book and kisses it before leaving the house. Meanwhile, Chloe and Jesse arrive at the motel where Sean and Patrick are installing video equipment. Keisha then offers Chloe a drink and apologizes for the incident in the locker room. Moments later, Sean enters another room and installs a hidden camera. He then goes to the bathroom after placing some flowers on the bed. When Tamara arrives, she assumes Bill is there and finds a note asking her to undress. Meanwhile, others in the opposite room are watching, and Roger, Jesse, and Chloe have no idea who the girl is. Patrick informs her that they have arranged for a stripper to entertain them. As Tamara takes off her clothes and relaxes, suddenly Sean comes out of the bathroom and turns on the light. Jesse, Roger, and Chloe finally realize they're watching Tamara, who's being humiliated by Sean. And as Tamara quickly puts on clothes, Sean continues to record her. Tamara then leaves the room in embarrassment, but she is startled to hear Chloe's voice. She feels betrayed, thinking Chloe is a part of this, and proceeds to attack her. Jesse tries to stop her, but she just pushes him back. Meanwhile, Sean is still recording this, and suddenly, Tamara bites Patrick, who then pushes her as she hits her head on the table. Tragically, Tamara dies instantly, leaving everyone stunned. Now, Sean tells everyone not to speak about Tamara's death, but Chloe insists on going to the police. However, Sean threatens to blame her and Jesse if she reveals anything about this incident. Jesse also claims that the cops would discover his and Chloe's skin beneath Tamara's nails. Amidst all this, Roger states that he is a scholarship student who cannot afford to lose it at any cost. Sean warns Chloe that if she goes against them, he has a videotape to back up his story, and with no other choice, Chloe agrees to keep her mouth shut and do what they suggest. After that, they bury Tamara's body in the woods. She then abruptly disappears from the grave, but soon reappears and rips Sean's throat. While everyone is running, Tamara attacks Patrick and breaks his neck. Chloe can only watch as Patrick dies, but she soon wakes up to realize she was having a nightmare. She also notices the bruises she got from Tamara and starts crying as she recalls what happened. Later at school, the group is taken aback when Tamara walks into class, alive and looking very beautiful and confident. Once the class is over, Tamara approaches Bill and apologizes for trying to kiss him earlier since she was feeling a little vulnerable. In another room, the gang is discussing how Tamara is still alive when they were sure she was dead. Patrick begins to suspect she is a witch, but Sean ignores the possibility and believes she was buried alive. Afterward, the footage of Tamara's death begins to play at the AV center where Roger works. He tries to erase all of the recordings, but the video continues to play on many different monitors. Tamara then appears out of nowhere and describes to him what it's like to be buried alive. She belittles Roger for being too afraid to stand up for the truth. Furthermore, Tamara mocks Roger for trying to commit suicide before telling him he lacks the courage to complete what he started. The next day at school, Roger sends a broadcasted message to the entire school stating that one should hear no evil, speak no evil, and see no evil. He then cuts off his ears and tongue after advising everyone to always stand up for what's right. Bill desperately tries to help Roger from outside, but unable to deal with all of this, Roger stabs himself in the eye and dies instantly. Later, the gang discusses Roger's death and is shocked by what is happening around them. Just then, Tamara appears unexpectedly and thanks them for making her a stronger woman. The gang then tries to clarify their situation, but Tamara simply ignores them and walks away. leaving them anxious. They then go to her grave in the woods to discover how she survived. Chloe understands Tamara dug herself out, and she also discovers the torn page from Tamara's spellbook. That evening, Tamara unexpectedly shows up at Bill's house. She says she needs to talk to someone, and when Bill says Allison is at school, she insists on waiting. Tamara tries to entice him by asking if he loves her new look, but Bill responds he liked her before. She then tries to kiss him, but Bill stops her and tells her he loves Allison. Disappointed with his response, Tamara walks out of the house, declaring that Bill will soon be hers, and that it is only a matter of time. The next morning, Tamara meets with Allison, who inquires about her well-being after learning about Roger's death. Tamara, on the other hand, says she doesn't want to be in her 30s with a husband who is dissatisfied with her, which makes Allison feel nervous. And before she leaves, Tamara tells Allison that she will never be able to bear children for Bill. Visibly upset, Allison talks to her husband and believes he told Tamara they're having difficulties conceiving, but Bill denies saying such a thing. That night, we see Patrick throwing a party at his house, and Tamara prepares to go even though she is not invited. Her father notices her as she is dressed up and wants Tamara to hug him, but the girl senses his lust and remarks that if her mother hadn't abandoned him, he wouldn't have had to yearn for his own daughter. Later, Tamara arrives at Patrick's party, and he informs her that she is not invited, but she quickly touches him and captivates his interest in her. Meanwhile, Chloe pulls out a torn page from the spellbook, explaining that the spell has something to do with how Tamara has transformed. Tamara then casts a spell on Sean too, and dances with Patrick and Sean. She takes the two into the bedroom and starts to make out. However, after a while, she forces the two guys to become intimate with each other. Moments later, Keisha arrives to stop Tamara, but she ends up becoming sick when Tamara begins to discuss Keisha's eating disorder. She tells Keisha that she is nothing but skin and bone and that she should eat more. Immediately, the girl walks downstairs and eats everything she can find. But Jesse and Chloe soon find her, and the three of them go outside. Moments later, Keisha, who is under a spell, informs Tamara that they're going to meet Bill, so Jesse snatches her phone and knocks her out, and they notice that Keisha has been eating her own finger. At the party, Tamara asks the boys to get dressed, saying they have important stuff to do. A few moments later, Bill arrives to meet Chloe and Jesse, and they explain the whole situation to him. He finds the whole witchcraft thing hard to believe, but they decide to go to Tamara's house and talk to her father about it. Now, Chloe, Jesse, and Bill arrive at Tamara's house and discover Tamara's father on the brink of death while munching the beer bottle. They also discover a spellbook that describes the ritual Tamara tried to execute. They understand Tamara's blood was spilled when they killed her that night, and due to this, the ritual was accomplished, allowing her to resurrect from the grave. Tamara realizes that the others know about her resurrection and sends Sean and Patrick to kill Allison. Despite her fear, Allison wanders around the house to see who is there and escapes getting stabbed by Sean. She tries to flee the house, but the boys have locked it. Allison is now concerned in the kitchen and uses a pepper grinder to knock Sean out. She then locks herself in the basement, but Patrick breaches the door and tries to kill her. She grabs a screwdriver and brutally stabs him in the neck. Sean then wakes up and tries to attack her, but Allison stabs him with the broken shovel handle. Shortly afterward, Bill arrives with the cops, and Keisha and Allison are both brought to the hospital and treated. Meanwhile, Tamara takes control of a cop at Bill's house and inquires about Allison's location. She later arrives at the hospital, and when Bill hears the officers talking to someone else, he rushes to check. As he sees Tamara, he runs away with Allison. Elsewhere, Keisha, who is still under Tamara's spell, uses the scalpel to attack Chloe and Jesse. Scared out of their minds, Jesse and Chloe hide in the cafeteria. But Keisha discovers them and repeatedly strikes Chloe in an attempt to kill her. However, Jesse draws her attention and leads her away with a tray. Keisha then savagely attacks Jesse and repeatedly stabs him. Moments later, Chloe arrives, knocking her out, but Jesse dies instantly in the hallway. On the other hand, Allison and Bill arrive at the rooftop while fleeing from Tamara. Tamara then arrives with an officer and orders him to shoot Allison, but just then, Chloe appears and strikes Tamara with the axe. However, the axe has no effect on Tamara, and she tries to control Chloe, but is unable to do so. Instead, she gets flashbacks of how Chloe tried to protect and support her from the others. Realizing the monster she has become, Tamara breaks down and slowly transforms back into a corpse. And before fading away, Tamara says that her fate is tied to Bill's and that she cannot leave until they are united. Bill then tells Allison one last time that he loves her. He kisses Tamara and grabs her before jumping off the roof. In the final scene, it is revealed that Chloe and Allison are fine, and Tamara and Bill are both dead. But Keisha, who appears to be under the spell, steals the witchcraft book from Chloe's car as the movie ends. Please make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching.